Yeah, hello, a very warm welcome to a special episode of Hamburg Pride Live. So this is our second episode in the Pride Week, and you will recognize it. It's quite a special day. We are doing it in English because it is a special tradition that we in Hamburg invite guests to our Pride so that they can tell us about their situation they are living in. Especially, we have strong connections with our partner cities like Prague, Shanghai. They are here, but also St. Petersburg or Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, who also have been guests at Hamburg Pride. So with this format, we are trying to bring you a little bit of the Pride atmosphere to your living rooms or wherever you are watching it. And today we have very special guests online. We are always trying to give our siblings abroad a forum, and since we are not able to have our Pride House like we are used to have it, we thought it would be a very good thing to do this online as well. So in the next hour, we want to talk with 3 guests about the challenges they face and achievements they reached, and about international solidarity in queer communities. Therefore, we invited 3 special guests, 3 special organizations. I use the word very often, I recognize right now. So let's start then. First up, I welcome Derek from Shanghai Pride. Hello.
Hi, everyone. I'm Derek. I'm from Shanghai Pride.
Thank you very much. We will talk about the situation of your Pride this year because you had an actual Pride, like you are celebrating Pride. We will talk about it. And also the challenges in China in general. So I'm looking forward. Then we have Patrick van der Paas. He was the project manager of Global Pride, the biggest online Pride event ever. And he's also a board member of Interpride, a very active one, and one of the board members of Zolle Pride. And what more?
Hi, everyone. Great to be in the show.
Thank you. And last but not least, I welcome Philip Milde. He's head of public relations of Prague Pride, one of our twin cities. And he's not only an expert for the Czech Republic, he can give us also insights of the situation of queer communities in Central and Eastern Europe. I'm very looking forward to our interview later.
Okay, hi everyone from Prague.
So thank you, Wolfgang. So we'll see, it's going to be a very interesting hour with a full schedule. So I welcome back Derek right now because we are doing the start. Hi, Derek from Shanghai. Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, here.
So Derek, it's very late for you or early, whatever you think.
Thank you. Very early, yes.
Thank you, first of all, that you're still awake for this.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
So maybe at first, because I think a lot of people doesn't know about it, can you tell us something about the legal situation of queer people in China?
Okay, so everyone knows like China is a big country. We have 1.6 billion people. And if we talk about 5% of the LGBTQ population in China, which is a lot. And in China, there's no law against LGBTQ. It's legal to be gay, but also there's no law supported. So it's quite difficult for a lot of NGOs if they want to register as an NGO, because somehow the NGO, you all need to have some background or connection or something government related. So most of the Chinese NGOs are registered as a company or as a health center. Like if they are doing HIV related, they can register as a health center. So as we all know, like there's no parade in China, so we cannot do like big Pride parade day in China, but we have Shanghai Pride here in Shanghai. I think we are the only running Pride in China for 12 years. And it's been difficult for us because we don't have any government support, and we all do everything by the rule, which means there's no parade, there's no, in a lot of situations, we just have to limit the number to do our events. That's all we can do. But we try to focus more on like same-sex marriage, or this year we focus more on like workplace DNI. I mean, it's even like the companies, there's no rule to support their LGBT employees. There's no policy for that. So I mean, yes, compared to a lot of other countries, we are legal to be LGBTQ, but in a lot of ways, there's no really laws or policies to support us. Yeah.
Okay, but I remember a very interesting thing you said last year when you were here, because you and your wife, you are married.
Yes.
And so there is a marriage.
Sorry, I lost you just now.
There is a kind of recognition at the company of your wife, if I remember that correct.
Yes, so this is very interesting. A lot of Chinese LGBT couples, especially lesbian and gay, they go overseas, they registered overseas. And like me and my wife, we got married in Hawaii 5 years ago. And then came back, we didn't think that much. We just thought, okay, we just want to get married. And then when my wife applied for her last job, and then it's a multinational company, and then there's something that you need to write down your spouse name, and then put your partner's name up there, things like that. So then the company applied for my wife's health insurance, and that at the moment when she put down my name, she didn't think about anything. But when we get the health insurance card for both of us, we were kind of surprised and shocked. But this is this is actually happening in a lot of multinational, like big companies, because those companies, they have the policy in global, but they don't really have the policy in China. But now more and more companies, when they have it, they start having it in China, which is great. So that's why a lot of lesbian and gay couples, when they get married overseas, they come back, and then they, inside of the company, they still have something to protect them anyhow. Yeah.
So you said in the beginning that it's not very, that the people in China are not allowed to protest. Yeah.
We don't have that. We cannot do outdoor gatherings, so no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is the way you're trying to approach to get into progress when it comes to LGBT rights? Because as you said, there is no law against, but no law supporting you.
So last year there was the news about the guardianship. So some lawyers were working on that. Like you can point your partner to, you know, sign your paper if anything happened to you, or like to legalize certain things. But I mean, compared to same-sex marriage, the cost is way higher because you need to hire the lawyer. You have to go through a lot of paperwork. But this is something might be a small, tiny step closer to that. And then there's a lot of law case about like there was a law case recently about a lesbian couple. They had they had 2 kids, but now they break up, so they're fighting for the kids' custody. So.
Mhm.
So this is also a very interesting case, and a lot of lawyers are working on that, trying to make it something, change the law or change certain things in the community or even, you know, nationally. And then but still there's we cannot do protest. So there's last year, before we had our national 两会, like national meeting, so a lot of parents, like P-flat parents, are writing letters to the office, to the officers, which can change the rule somehow. But well, it didn't work out, which we all knew that, but it's just like small, tiny steps we can do. And there are a lot of organizations that try to working on that.
So the legal situation is one thing, but I think a big part in every country is how is the society dealing with the LGBT community. So China, as you said, is a very big country with huge cities, but also with a large countryside.
Yeah.
So how is LGBTIQ? How are LGBTs seen in China by society?
So in the big cities like Shanghai or Beijing or Chengdu, so we call, like some cities we call it even gay city. In the big cities, people are really living in their life, and they don't care about other people, how they're thinking, because in China we don't really have the religion problem like other countries, but we have one problem. It's always come from our parents, because after the one child policy, all the family has only 1 kid, especially for my generation. So you know, in China, there's one thing, very big thing, you just have to have the 3rd generation for your parents. So then it become a big deal for a lot of LGBTQ kids who cannot come out because they know what their parents want. And this is very important for us as we grow up, like from our family, from the whole society. You just have to give something your parents want. It's not about what you want sometimes. So this is, yeah, so mostly, so people need to do that. So a lot of so-called arranged marriage happens. So a lesbian marry a gay is very common, though we don't support that, but still a lot of kids, if they want to give the parents what they want, they just have to go through that. Yeah, so this is very disturbing, but it's the reality. Yeah.
Okay, so Pride is here. When we're talking about Pride, a lot of people are saying, so you're doing parades and having a party and stuff like that. So and that's almost all, which is not true, as we know, because we had wonderful talks in Pride House. So since there is no parade for Pride in Shanghai, how do you celebrate your Pride?
So we do different kind of events. This year we have to minimum size our events, also our attendees. So we had like we had Idaho Day for Rainbow Bike. We had Rainbow Bike Ride for that, and we had like Pride Run, Pride Brunch. We did a LGBTQ job fair this year, and we did a workplace forum and also some other forums, and talk about mental health, talk about same-sex marriage. things like that. And then we have like LGBT Open Day. So since Shanghai Pride is the only Pride happening in China for so long, so we try to invite all the, like Hamburg also invite other people from other cities or like organizations from other countries. So we invite the LGBT groups or NGOs from all around China come over to Shanghai to show what they're doing in their city. And I think this is really a meaningful event. And of course, we have parties and we have like talk events. And I think next week we will host our Pride Art. So, and also our Pride Film Festival on the way soon, like hopefully end of next month, because due to the COVID-19, the cinemas couldn't open, so we just have to hold on certain events and just wait and postpone that. Yeah.
Okay, so you already mentioned it, COVID-19. So how did COVID-19 affect your plannings or your festival in general?
Well, like, for example, we have to minimum our attendees. So like for our parties, back then we can host maybe 1,000 people or even more indoor. And then this year we were told we could only host like 200 at the beginning. And then 200 become 400 and 400 become, then there was some more case were like tested positive. So we just have to cut from 400 back to 200, back forward like that. But for us, we thought about moving things online, but for us was more important about showing people there's a community and we need to be visible. So that's why we decided no matter how difficult, we just have to do it offline. So we host our parties with really minimal number. And then all the events, we have to ask people to register online, to leave the like phone number. And then all the event, we have to check the temperature and the masks are required, all this kind of rule. This is really new, but I think we worked out pretty well. Yeah.
Okay. And as you said, you worked out pretty well. You brought us a little video from this year's Shanghai Pride. And now we see each other later if you don't fall asleep. And so now we can watch the Shanghai Pride video.
Wow.
Looked like a very successful event for you. Thank you for now. And now I welcome my next guest, and this is Patrick van der Paas. Hello, Patrick.
Hi, everyone.
So, from where are you calling?
So I'm calling from Amsterdam.
From Amsterdam.
Yes.
I knew the Netherlands, but I
The
wasn't
neighbors.
sure if you're still there. So, a few weeks ago in June, you were the head of production, the project manager of Global Pride. So what was Global Pride and what was the idea behind it?
So indeed, I was project manager for Global Pride 2020. The idea rose from many prides globally being cancelled. EPOA is the European Pride Organized Association, and they listed all the prides that were cancelled. Was started to cancel back in February, and quite soon it became clear that many prides could not have their physical events in the streets, and therefore the idea arose of having a joint pride together with all the prides globally online for 24-hour live stream of with content from prides from all around the world. And on June 27th, we had the event. It lasted a little longer, almost 28 hours. And many prides from all around the world. So we managed to gather content from a lot of prides around the globe in a very short period of time, which was amazing, by a very big team of volunteers coming from everywhere.
So what happened during Global Pride? What was shown during the 28-hour Pride?
Yeah, so we had messages of support from Pride organizers. We also had visual impressions of Pride, which happened in the past in certain places. We had speeches given by activists, but also by political leaders. We had many performances from local talent, but also international A-list artists, such as Elton John. Todrick Hall was our host, so he had a performance as well as Natasha Bedingfield, and talent from all around the globe. What I think was interesting is that we managed to gather content from over 111 countries. So we managed to gather a lot in a very short period of time. And therefore, also the content was very rich and diverse in all aspects.
Mm-hmm. And so, can you say how many people you reached during this stream?
Yeah, with the full stream, we reached over 57 million people around the globe, and we had people watching the stream from 163 countries. So we even reached more people in more places than we managed to get a content from.
So a lot of people who are critical to online events saying that online events are only for our own bubble, like it's an event from the queer community to the queer community. When you're saying 57 million watched Global Pride total, do you have an idea who watched?
Yeah, so I think for a large extent you reach the community, of course, but we also know that there were a lot of watch parties also in some countries open up their boundaries, the governmental restrictions on gatherings of people. And we also know that a lot of public gatherings and watch parties have been presented as well. So therefore, of course, you also bring it to the streets of people. We also had places where the screens outside of companies or organizations show the stream, so people who pass by also, see the streams out there. But what we also should not forget, I think, and what was very interesting about Global Pride, and for which we get a lot of compliments during the stream as well, is that we managed to reach a lot of people who are from our community, but usually cannot join the Pride physically due to economic restrictions, due to being not out yet, being not in a physical position to join a Pride and Pride events. So therefore, we increased our accessibility of Pride by doing this online for a lot of people.
So what does this say for us for the future? So will there be a global Pride 2021, or is or wait, what can we learn from that? That it's more accessible for a lot of people when we're doing it online.
So doing another event in 21 or in the future, and how this will look like is a big question we're looking at now, and we want to come from the community, how people want to proceed us with Global Pride. We think it's also, there's a uniqueness on the situation, of course, that this event occurred, and gathering so many volunteers in such short period of time to make the event happening, because there's a huge logistics behind it, of course. But what I do think is that Pride organizers can see the value of having also online activities to give people access to the Pride. And I think the international collaboration on providing a stage and a platform and a Pride for people who are in places in which there is no Pride, or who cannot be visibly out or out at all. I think it's important for Pride organizers to focus on these group of people as well, because they're also part of our community, and they also deserve to feeling recognized in a space, even if it's not a physical space.
So it would be a very good addition to physical prides to do it virtual as well.
Definitely.
So
yeah.
Can you tell us how many people more or less were involved in organizing Global Pride?
Yeah, so it's a lot of people. Our team from Global Pride itself consists of over 100 volunteers. But of course, the content came from other Pride organizers around the globe, but also LGBTQI+ organizations. And these, of course, all worked themselves on the content with their own team. So we cannot say how many people in total contributed to the event, because almost all Prides created content especially for Global Pride, which made it also very valuable, of course. But our team, from our side, on the project were over 100 volunteers.
That's a lot, but 28 hours are a lot of time you have to play for. So the thing behind Global Pride was not only to create a Pride, there was also a donation call. You collected donations for the Pride Relief Fund. Can you tell us how much money did you reach so far?
Yeah, indeed. We wanted to use the event to for those who are in a position to donate, to give a contribution to the Global Pride Relief Fund that we established. With this Relief Fund, we try to support Pride organizers, but there's also a part reserved for new projects in the future in underrepresented areas. And in total, we raised over $100,000. And if people still want to donate to support the LGBTQI+ community globally, they still can donate at our website, globalpride2020.org.
That sounds like an amazing number, $100,000. Who can apply and what can it be used for? Can you tell us that? Do you know that?
Yeah, so we it's indeed a large number, and we divide it in two sections. The first is the immediate emergency relief fund for Pride organizers. Of course, a lot of Pride got in financial distress due to the cancellation of their events. And we set an amount for which Pride can apply very easily, quickly. They can apply at our website before the 15th of August. And the second round is it's reserved for, after the first round, we look at which Pride are still underrepresented in the distribution of the funds, which areas haven't we reached that well for the emergency relief fund. And we want to support Pride organizers or organizations in these aspects of places of the world. For example, if a Pride organizer in a very underrepresented area desires to organize a Pride, but they are in a situation in which it's very difficult to organize one, they can apply for the fund in the second round for these new projects and to establish a Pride somewhere in the future if they need to pay for some startup costs for the Pride. And there's also a special section for organizations that fight racism, oppression, or injustice. This is also in the second round of the applications for which organizers and Pride organizers, but also other organizations can apply for.
So all these information you find on your website, and the place where you can still donate money, which is globalpride2020.org. Thank you, Dominic, who's like our director for today. And he's putting in all the little banners. So thank you for that. As you said, a lot of artists were part of Global Pride, and you also brought a little video for us showing the artists of Global Pride.
Woo! Happy Pride, everybody! Happy Global Pride! I want the world to know. Yes. I got this lady show. I say, I want the world to know. Yes, y'all.
I'ma let you see. What you gonna let them see? My mask, gloves, soap, scrubs, mask, gloves, soap, scrubs, mask, gloves, soap, scrubs, mask, gloves, soap, scrubs. My mask, gloves, soap, scrubs, mask, gloves.
Sorry, Rue, I love you. Sorry, Rue, I love you. I can't stop thinking of you. Sorry, Rue, I love you. Sorry that I need you.
Tú dices patrona y dueña yo soy. Tú eres magona y perra yo soy. Tú dices que mandas, tú sabes que no. Te crees bonita y sabes que no. La más admirada, odiada yo soy. No tienes talento, que buen revolcón.
Vamos de gira, tenemos que pincha, gracias mi pincha.
Where I've been, what I've seen, people dying. They can't be who they be, cause they're hiding. You know me, being free, won't be silent.
That was Global Pride 2020. 57 million people have watched it. Almost, no, $100,000 came together for the Pride Relief Fund. Thank you for it. Now, Patrick, we're talking later about later together with all of them about international queer solidarity, and you are quite an expert, I think, because everyone knows and loves you in the world, and so you know everyone, and you can tell us, I think, a lot more. So, but now I invite my next guest to come up on the screen, Philip from Prague Pride. Hi, Philip.
Hello, back again.
Back again. How are you feeling? Are you good?
I'm very well, actually. I was just thinking that we were really grateful to be a part of Global Pride. two of our videos made it to the broadcast. Our mayor sent a greeting to everybody, and we had a stand-up queer tour guide around Prague. So we were happy that we were a part of Global Pride.
Great. So good memory for you.
Yes.
So as I said in the beginning, you're not only head of the public relations of Prague Pride, you are also very, you have also a very good knowledge about the situation of queer people in Central and Eastern Europe. And as we here in Germany hear a lot of things of laws against LGBT people in Hungary or LGBT-free zones in Poland, I'm very keen to hear your thoughts on the situation of the queer communities there.
Yeah, so, well, the situation is, of course, getting worse in the whole Central and Eastern Europe. It all kind of started around, mainly the countries that are that we talk about here is Poland, Hungary, and Slovakia, where the situation towards LGBT people is not evolving and it's actually evolving in the opposite way. But a big focus is on Poland, where the situation started approximately a year ago when there was the parliamentary elections, and LGBT people became an artificial target. The topic became politicized, and LGBT-free zones were created. They cover around 1/3 of Poland, so it's a really big area. It's more than 100 provinces. So we can say that the thing that people know the most, which you mentioned, started around that time when politics, or the politicians in Poland obviously needed a topic that they can attract people's emotions and create a concept of fear. The danger was really artificially created by starting using words like LGBT plague, when the Catholic Church started using these terms, and LGBT ideology. And also then this narrative was then taken over to other countries in Eastern Europe, or Central and Eastern Europe, except Czech Republic, because here the situation was a little bit different, because luckily our laws and the political climate and social climate is much different than in those other three countries. But this narrative from Poland then was used as well in Slovakia and in Hungary.
So when we can go back just to Poland, because we all hear from the LGBT-free zone, what does this actually mean? Because these zones are obviously not LGBT-free. What do they try to create by claiming themselves as LGBT-free? And how is it for our siblings, for our community members there, to live in those areas?
Well, of course, the zones are not LGBT-free. It's very artificially labeled like that. It's a concept of strategy where the areas are not allowing any LGBT form of affection or anything that you can label as a promotion or LGBT lifestyle, which means they don't want their kids to be taught about this in schools. They don't want to have prides. They want to pretend like LGBT people don't exist, that these people simply are not there, and they want to strip them from their rights. I heard a story from one of those areas, which is a part of this LGBT free zones. That there was a kindergarten that had a rainbow painted on the house, which has been there forever, and now the authorities asked the kindergarten to repaint it because it was they were worried that it's showing signs of support for LGBT ideology, which nobody can actually even describe what it means.
So it's also only a society coming
I'm sorry?
It's not only a big society, but also it's coming from authorities.
I don't understand the question.
So authorities are going there telling people that they are not allowed to support, like, a bit like the anti-LGBT propaganda law in Russia.
Yes, you can say that. Exactly.
When people in Germany are talking about, I always, not always, but I often hear that they are saying, so I had the feeling there were more progress and now we're going back. I can't really say that because I don't really know anything about the situation in Poland before. Can you say that this is correct? Were there more progress? Are we going back, or what is happening now?
Well, I'm really not an expert to say that, to have such a maybe more explanatory opinion, but the situation, at least in the Central and Eastern Europe, is definitely going backwards. But you can see signs of this all around the world. The societies are being divided. You see it in every other country. I think a lot has to do with the fact because we have social media and people are overflown with information. It's really hard for the general public to understand what's really happening. There's a huge economical progress or downturn. There's a huge technological shift. So there's a lot of things happening. It's like the new Renaissance. So I think we kind of see it as something that goes backwards, but it's maybe just a regular way of things, of the evolution of history or of things. But when we talk specifically about the region of Central and Eastern Europe, it's really getting worse. Specifically LGBT people are simply stripped from their rights. More and more hateful attacks are being done against LGBT people. And so you really can say the situation is really getting worse. And the reason for that is it's because people obviously it works on people in terms of politics or political marketing because it's about emotion, it's about fear. And right now there is no other fear that the politicians can use against people or to influence their opinions. And to create a feeling of dominance or to create a feeling of leadership. So this is why this topic of LGBT people is being abused. We see it also, the signs here in the Czech Republic right now.
So actually we want to talk about that, but I would like to ask you, if we're talking about solidarity in Europe, solidarity in the queer communities, what do you think can be done at this point? What can we here in Hamburg or our communities, what can we do to support our communities there?
Well, it's kind of maybe coming from our or mine personal experience that by sharing the stories of what's really happening, the positive and the negatives, of course, to show solidarity through that. We try, for example, to invite for our Pride events, even last year or this year virtually, we try to invite people who are activists in human rights activists, in LGBT activists, and to give them a platform to talk about what they need to talk about. We try to involve our local politicians that are supportive or they can help even on the international level that have connection to European Parliament. So to use stories and people's presence with the combination of media impact and introduction of these stories to politicians, that they can change and they can push countries where these hateful things are happening right now, such as in Poland and in Hungary or even Slovakia.
Okay, thank you for that. So let's also talk about Prague Pride, because you are the head of public relations. When we are looking forward, I think your Pride is next week, not this weekend, but next weekend. On Saturday would be normally the Prague Pride. What can you tell us about your Pride this year?
So the Pride, we are really happy that the Pride is actually happening. There are, of course, the terms and conditions we need to follow in terms of the COVID epidemic. We are trying to be really aware of every single change that is really happening and inform everybody who is planning to attend or who will be attending the event. It takes place from Monday till Sunday next week. The traditional Rainbow Pride was cancelled, but we were looking for another form of to give people the opportunity to get together in the form that will be acceptable. So we are having a rainbow cruise along the Vltava River in the city center, which we have for the first time. It's maybe a little present or a big present for us, because we are celebrating the 10th anniversary of Prague Pride, and we have over 120 confirmed events at this moment. So we are really trying to make it as big as possible in the terms that are currently available.
That sounds great. More than 100 events going. I saw online and physical events as well, so a combination.
Yes.
And you brought us a little invitation clip for us that we can show now. So your Pride is starting next Monday, and then
Yes.
it's going next Sunday. If you want to be part of it, you can go easily by train from Hamburg to Prague. It's a direct connection. I can recommend. I love the train. Thank you very much for this interview and the insights you gave us on the Central and Eastern European region. That was very interesting, I think, not only for me, but also for our viewers, is the word for the audience. So now I would like to invite Patrick and Derek back on the screen. Ta-da! So there you are. I talked with Philip a little bit about solidarity, and I know that us four, we are all activists, and we see our work is in solidarity. But I would like to know from you two, Derek and Patrick as well, what Philip did. Can you tell us what is your view on solidarity in the queer communities? Can we say the solidarity in queer communities is a role model for minorities, or is there something that can be done much better? Who wants to start? Should I decide? Can you hear me? Are you pretending that the connection is lost?
No, I can hear you. Do you want to start or not? Or you want me to start?
Please start first. I need to think about it. Yeah.
So yeah, what I think is that in general, maybe of the community, it's expected that people are in solidarity with also other marginalized groups. But I think for my experience, it's important you also see a lot of people who, despite being of a marginalized community, they don't necessarily know about the marginalizations of other people and what is the experience for others. And I think what can be maybe done better, or society is very diverse, and I think not all people focus on all forces of marginalization, and therefore you also still see transphobia within the community, racism within the community, and I think our community could be strengthened if more people are aware of other forms of marginalization. That next to being one community within the acronym LGBTQI+, still we work on the acceptation of other people. In a nutshell. Yeah.
Thank you. So Derek, did you made up your mind?
Sorry, I didn't really understand the word.
What?
Yeah, I didn't really get the word. What's the word means? Sorry.
Solidarity.
Yeah.
So how can we in queer communities work better together on an international level? How can we support each other better? How can we strengthen our networks and stuff like that? Is there something you would say that is missing in international collaboration for queers?
Okay. I think this year is very interesting because a lot of things went online. So people actually get to know a lot of events or a lot of people, a lot of things happening around China, around the world, everywhere if they want to reach, because everything is online. It's like now I have friends from Shanghai watching the live, as I know, and there's some other people from other place. So, but back then, even like when we talk about Shanghai Pride, not many people know there's a Pride in Shanghai. Even in China, like in China, there's a lot of people still don't know. Even people living in Shanghai, they don't know about us. So, I mean, there's a lot of things we can do for the community, but it's also very important if we can put everything together and let people know what's happening. Yeah. I was very impressed and very amazed by how New York Pride was hosted last year. I think the whole world, every Pride organization was there. Then we get to know a lot of people, things like that. It was really great. Yeah.
Thank you. Philip, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I think it's a very tactical thing actually to really be helpful to somebody else around you in a different country, because you are focusing a lot on topics that you need to focus. For example, prior to my role with Prague Pride, I was in charge of communication for equal marriage campaign, which is still an ongoing thing. And a lot of you receive a lot of messages from people in the Czech Republic. Oh, there is this happening, or people from I don't know, from Arabic countries. They will send you a video of a woman that says that gay people should be their head should be cut off, and they ask you to help them out to spread the knowledge about these things. But we as organizations, it's really hard, to cover every single thing. So it's a very, very tactical and actually hard thing to be, it's one thing to show solidarity, but there's another thing to really make things that will be changed into acts. So I think it's a very long-term practical process.
Thank you. I think that's a very good perspective. I'm sorry, I have some problems with my speaker.
We are in solidarity with you for sure.
So we are almost at the end of our time, but I would like to have something positive to leave this virtual studio we are in right now. And so I would like to ask you, what is your wish for our Pride communities? Maybe for next year, maybe for a long term. So what is your wish for? What are you fighting for in the end?
I can start.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, actually, I think my wish or wish of us, of our organization, is that people will be more freely to be themselves and be more out. Because if people will be out and they will be free to be out, people will know us better and understand us better. And then the people won't be divided. They won't see us as something that they should fear, but they will see that we have lives like everybody else, and that our lives are not only happening in bedrooms, which we hear a lot from our politicians. So this is my personal wish as well, to the people will be simply more out and they will be not afraid to be out.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think for me, sorry. Okay, better? Shall I wait?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay. So for me, it's kind of similar, because what I always say is, like, if one person can change 5 people's mind, let's say, and there's 5% of the community of the population are LGBTQ, or even 10%, right? So if one person can change 5 people's mind, and then 5% can change 25%, and this is going to be crazy. So I hope everybody can come out to be yourself, not scared of what other people think or what other people say, and stand with us. I mean, it's not always for Pride organizations, for people to stand out together, not hide, to be yourself. So I really want to see more people from the community come out and support the community. We are strong together. And last thing, happy birthday, Patrick. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So the last words are for you, Patrick.
Yeah, I think I very much agree with my colleagues, what they've been sharing. And I think in that, for us as activists and organizations who work on improving the position of LGBTI folks around the world, I think it's important to kind of better collaborate or with each other. I think if we work together, each organization, of course, has their own strength and specialization for maybe marginalized groups. For example, the intersex community is very much neglected within many prides, but also within other organizations who still working on LGBT issues. And I think improving collaborations with other organizations, coordinating this better, will result in that we don't have to reinvent the wheel ourselves each time. If communications around a certain topic are established in a well-formed manner, we can share this. We can use our own we can use each other's expertise to indeed help some people, and those people can pay this forward to others. And we cannot do this by ourselves. We have to work together to really create a better world for everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all of you. It was it was a pleasure for me and a pleasure for Hamburg Pride in total and for the whole city. It was very great to have you here, and thank you for sharing your thoughts on different things and your stories. It was a very interesting hour. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I really hope that we can meet in person next year here in Hamburg.
Yeah, I
Okay,
hope so
thanks.
too.
There was the second episode of Hamburg Pride. I have to announce a very important thing because tomorrow we have our third talk in Pride Week, and I don't know which number it is in general, but tomorrow we will have our colleague from our board, Inken van Haft, who's going to moderate a talk about bi-visibility in German. So see you tomorrow. Enjoy your evening and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone.
Good
Bye.
night. Bye.
Bye.